Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome back to the show. It's episode 653. There he is.
There he is.
Derpy.
Good morning. Good morning, Derpy.
Good morning.
Good morning, Finch. Good morning,
Good
Mike.
morning.
Good morning, everybody. Yeah, here we are, guys. It is Victory Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
Got a lot of things to talk about today, guys, as we prepare for the Cleveland Browns round 2 this Sunday. First off, I want to talk about this brain rot. Anybody see brain rot is the new word? It's
Yes.
being, I don't know. I guess
Yes.
it's being put into the circuit. What is? Everyone started saying yes, but nobody wants to help me out.
Dictionary?
It's a word that's put into circulation.
The dictionary?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. So the
Like an
word
official
brain rot is
Oxford-
the new one. Is there any
Oxford or
other
whatever.
ones? Any other ones, guys? Because you seem to know a lot about.
Not that I know of. No, I don't know a lot about it. I know what brain rot is, though. I work with a lot of the younger generation, and yeah, they know all about brain rot.
Brain rot, the academic publishing house defined brain rot is the supposed deterioration of a person's mental or intellectual state, especially viewed as the result of overconsumption of material, now particularly online content, considered to be trivial or unchallenging. So there you go, brain rot. Brain rot, guys. Get used to it. It's a word. It's a new word. Brain rot. Good morning to Jen on the board.
Good morning, Chad.
Hi, Jen.
Well, what's your favorite word that you guys seen in your lifetime join the dictionary? Mine was yada yada yada. Every year they come up with these new words, they put them in the dictionary and make it a word. Mine is actually 3. It's yada yada yada. Anybody have a favorite word that's became a word since you've been alive?
Truthiness from Stephen Colbert, The Colbert Report. Truthiness.
What's truthiness?
It's something that people believe is true that is not true.
Oh, isn't that something that's false or a lie?
Yeah, but it's the way. Yeah, but it's the way
Or
it was
is it
used in the
fiction?
definition of it. Truthiness.
Yeah, there you go. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Finch, you look like you had something. What do you got, man?
I'm a big fan of the
I hope it's
The
better
word
than truthiness.
glizzy. How about glizzy?
That's
Hot dogs
that's
are
fitting.
delicious, and some people seem to be upset that if you call it a glizzy. Now I'm like, dude, bro, I love it. I think it's a good word. It sounds better than hot dog. It sounds better than wiener. You can make wiener jokes all you want, but glizzy is a good one. I like that one.
Here we go.
Glizzy is a good
I
one.
looked at. Glizzy is good. I did look up the definition of truthiness. So it's the quality of seeming or being felt to be true, even if not necessarily true. So not
like-
really a lie, something
like
that people
fiction.
feel that believe is true, but it's really not true.
I don't
That's-
think a lot about the things that I say, to be honest with you.
Neither do I, Coach. Neither do I.
Words. It's just words.
It's just words, Coach.
The glizzy actually is from the black community. I've heard that first in the black community, the glizzy, and it is one of my favorites as well, guys. I seen something the other day. It was the breakfast glazy, and it was like it was a pancake where the buns was supposed to be, and it was like other things in the middle, but it was a spin off of the hot dogs and the glizzies and all that kind of stuff. But that's a good one too. Good morning, Derpy. Do you have any words?
No,
Okay.
I'm just
But
glad
the-
to be here at the moment.
The Oscar Wilde, of our generation, for once, is left speechless.
There you go.
Yes,
There
I
he is.
am.
It's Derpy, everybody. He's back. Derpy's here, guys. Finch is here. Mike, myself. Time to rock. It is episode 653 of the Two Dumb Yinzers. Enough of this glizzy talk. Enough of brain rot. We got football to talk about. Last night on Monday Night Football, the Denver Broncos, they beat the Cleveland Browns 41-32. The Denver Broncos, they increased their record. They improved to 8-5, while the Cleveland Browns dropped to 3-9. Keeping things interesting in the AFC playoff race, And I only say this because the Ravens have the same record right now as the Denver Broncos. They're just slightly ahead of the Broncos. Broncos are sitting in the 7th seed. The Ravens sitting in the 6th seed. And the Chargers sitting in the 5th seed. And then all the division leaders above that, of course. Guys, I kind of said tongue-in-cheek about this Ravens team, maybe possibly missing the playoffs this year. Again, they are a tiebreaker ahead of the 7th seed team in the playoffs right now, which is the Denver Broncos. But the only thing that the Ravens really have going for them is the fact that nobody else in the conference is any good. Everybody besides those 7 teams are all under 500. The only teams that are 500 or better are all in playoff spots. So, I mean, I don't know. I'd like to see the Ravens not make it, but I got to tell you guys, it really looks like they're going to get in just by default, because if you stay above 500, like, you're going to make it in the AFC. The Colts being the next team on the list would be able to overtake, which are 2 games behind the Ravens at the time. So, again, if you think that the Colts are going to outplay the Ravens through the last 5 weeks of the season, I think you're nuts. But I guess it was fun to think possibly that team might miss the playoffs this year, guys. Good morning, Ralph. Good morning, Jen. Good morning to everybody on the board. It is Victory Tuesday, guys.
Hi, Ralph.
Listen, Johnson also, I'm hearing he'll be on his way out of Baltimore. The guy got, does he have any catches?
I don't think so. I think he has 0 catches. Maybe this is his master plan after the Steelers-Ravens game. Him
Right
and
up
Mike
there with
Tomlin
Mike Williams. Mike Williams has.
Yeah, I was going to say, Mike Tomlin and Deontay Johnson had a nice conversation, before or after the game against the Ravens. Maybe this is their master plan. They're seeing Mike Williams isn't working out. Maybe we can get Deontay in there and he can have 2 catches. Bring him back. Now that he's a free agent, he can come back. Put him in the way George Pickens has been acting recently together. I want that for the fireworks. I want that for the drama. Forget the playoff run, boys. Let's see what these 2 knuckleheads can get up to.
So that sounds like a good idea. Mike, also, by the win that we did gain over the weekend and the Ravens lose, we have now 70% chance to win the division. They're saying 70% chance to win the division, while the Baltimore Ravens fall only a 30% chance to win the division. They have their off week this week, guys, while we play, so we have the opportunity to add a little bit more space between us and the Ravens. If we beat the Browns, we gain another half game, and then we'll finally be even, because they had their off week way at the end of the season. So, guys, I mean, we are about 2 games. I think we're 1.5 game up now, plus the tiebreaker that will technically put you at 2 games because they have to beat you again. And then also, if we could gain this half game, we could be 2.5 games up on the Ravens with only 4 games left. I like the way that sounds, guys. But again, it starts with we have to beat the Cleveland Browns this weekend. Anybody catch the Browns game last night, the Browns at Denver?
I caught a little bit of the game. I saw a lot of the highlights. That was the Jameis Winston that we all know and love. He had 4 touchdowns and 3 pick sixes.
Right.
You don't know what you're going to get from him, and that was a quintessential performance. My man's still praying to God to help him with the to deliver him from the pick sixes. Hopefully, his prayers are not answered this weekend, and we get a couple of them. But my God, man, him and Jerry Jeudy, man, had a hell of a game. Jeudy put up almost 200 yards or over 200 yards, I believe, in offense. So, whew.
Yeah, Jeudy had a huge game last night. I watched. There was too much orange on my television screen. I couldn't take it, so I was off and on.
It burns the corneas.
It does. My retinas were all fried, guys. So that doesn't really help us out again. Denver taking an L, but again, that falls down the rabbit hole. As if we lose a couple games, then we would at that point be concerned about Denver. But at this time, it really doesn't affect us. Beating the Browns right now is the most important thing. It's the only thing that we could take, control under our own power. Let me give you the numbers, guys. We were talking a little bit last week about the Steelers were only putting up about 23 points a game. Here's the boost that we got from scoring a lot of points this week. And of course, putting up 44 points will certainly move you up the list, guys. The Pittsburgh Steelers are the 10th best scoring team in the NFL right now with a 24.7 points per game. That's pretty damn good, guys. If you think about it,
Heck yeah.
that means that there's 2/3 and 2 teams lower than us, only 9 teams better than us. The 9 teams that are ahead of us are the Lions at the, way at the top, Buffalo, Baltimore, Washington, Tampa Bay, Cincinnati, Philly, Green Bay, Minnesota, and we come in at number 10. A lot of them is over on the NFC side, a few over here on the AFC side, one being the Bengals, who's going to be a playoff team, just like a few other of these teams, guys. Right here, smack dab. I mean, this is a stretch, guys. You have 4 games left after this week. We have 5 altogether, and we're sitting here in the 10th best scoring, as the 10th best scoring team, 24.7 points per game. Finch, you got to be a bit excited about this, especially considering that we was supposed to be the team bringing up the rear in this division, and this division doesn't look like anything that they told us it was going to look like at the beginning of the year.
Haters are going to hate. I mean, that's how it goes, right? Everybody hated on the Steelers, and they're just going to keep on hating, but we're proving them wrong every single week. Sure, we've had some trip-ups with Cleveland. We're gonna remedy that this week, I feel like. Even though Cleveland had a great game, they're going to be on a short week. The Steelers are thirsty to win that game, so that'll shut them up. But yeah, you got to like where the offense is going, right? I mean, we've had a couple of games where we scored nothing but field goals, and it's wild to think that even with that, we still ended up in what you said, 10th position now in total points scored. That's impressive. It's also driven up by 2 games where we scored over 30. So it's hard to believe, but it's also like it's good that the defense can be bailed out by the offense, you feel like. And that's what happened in this game the other day. The defense just couldn't stop Joe Burrow. Boy, was he great. And, the defense just couldn't stop him. And obviously we made plays when we needed them, but the offense was there to keep up. And that's what I said we needed to do to win was to be able to keep up. So I'm glad to see that we did it. Good for you, Russ Wilson. Good job.
Yeah,
Mike, let me sneak this in right before, because you might want to comment on this as well. Guys, I did mention that we were the number 2 team with a 24.7, which is only 1 point behind Minnesota. They're at a 24.8. Guys, the team right behind us, let me say this one more team. The team right behind us is the Kansas City Chiefs.
Ooh.
To this point in the season, we are averaging more points per game than the Kansas City Chiefs, coming in with a 24.1. We were at 24.7. Guys, make this make sense and tell me why one team is undefeated, damn near undefeated, and the other team is not. Is this crazy, Mike? Is that a crazy? We're ahead of the Chiefs, the Steelers?
Yeah, it does feel a little bit crazy. You think on paper, Kansas City, they have Mahomes, they have Travis Kelce. Yeah, they were without, arguably their 2 best wide receivers and their best running back for a while, but you figure Mahomes would find a way to score more points than that, and they just haven't. And then here we are chugging along. Imagine where the offense would be if Russ Wilson was healthy the entire season. Where would the Steelers be right now? Would we be undefeated? Would we be a 1-loss, 2-loss team at this point? But yeah, what the offense is doing now is what I think Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin envisioned the offense being all offseason, by getting Arthur Smith, by getting Russell Wilson, by investing in this offensive line in the draft. This is what they wanted, man, to be able to run the ball, hit the middle of the field, use play action, get George Pickens deep. This is a fun offense to watch. It's not, like the greatest show on turf type offense, not like a Detroit Lions type offense where they're going to, confuse you with motion. This is basic football, man. We're going to, our skill guys are going to beat your skill guys. Our big uglies are going to beat your big uglies, and have fun trying to stop it. And right now, no one's really stopped it. Like ourselves, like the Steelers have shut themselves, when this team has struggled by, poor execution and poor play calling. But this game right here, man, they executed well and they had great play calling. And if they can continue that down the stretch, I think we're only going to get better. I don't think we're peaking. I think we're on the way up, but I don't think we're anywhere near peaking as an offense.
And let me add real quick to that to the comparison with Kansas City. Also keep in mind the class of opponents that we have had compared to them. The AFC West is not as good as the AFC North. We haven't even played most of our AFC North games, but we've played a lot of really great teams early in the season.
I don't know. They have 3
we're doing it against solid defense.
as we speak. They have 3 teams sitting in the playoffs as we speak. We have one of our 2 playoff teams teetering on not even being a playoff team. I guess you could really go either way on that argument. I do take your point. Right after Kansas City, guys, on the scoring list is the Houston Texans, who's not that good this year, but last year they were able to put up a lot of points at will. The Saints, who earlier this year I could remember they put up about 45 at one point. Now these aren't great offenses, mind you. I'm not saying that these are great offenses, but these are the offenses that we're in front of. San Francisco, obviously, who's dealing with a lot of injuries. The Denver Broncos, the LA Chargers, and down the list, guys. So to be where we're at, I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty excited to be 10. And we're not 3 weeks into the schedule where we had a game where we scored a lot of points and everybody else didn't. You got to look at teams like the Buffalo Bills that score 30 points a game. These guys are putting up 30 points every game. Even the Cincinnati Bengals putting up 30 points for so many games in a row. So for where we're at, we have 5 weeks left. We're number 10 in that spot, which again I don't think a lot of people would have even notched us. Finch, they weren't even notching us to be out of the basement in the division, let alone having the 10th best offense in the league.
Oh yeah, Colin Cowherd was calling for us to fire Tomlin before the season because we wouldn't be able to get out of the basement. That shows them, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, right now, guys, we're averaging a touchdown more a game than we did last year. Last year we averaged 17.8 points a game.
We're 2 games where we didn't score a touchdown.
Yeah.
And
so
we still got that average.
Yeah, so we are the offense is moving in the right direction. In the last 3 games, we're averaging 27 points a game. Right, overall it's like 24 points a game. But these last 3 games, the offense has come alive, and it's gelling at the right moment. It still has room to improve, man. It still has room to improve.
You guys raised the question: what if Russell Wilson would be the quarterback all season? Let me give you the numbers, guys, and you could decide for yourself. I think we're right around where we were, and let me explain why. Completion percentage between the two: Justin Fields is actually 1 point higher. He's a 65.8, while Russell Wilson's been a 65.7. Meanwhile, remember, guys, these guys both have played the same exact amount of games. Completion percentage by 1 point higher. The yards is where the difference is. It's a 300-yard difference. Russell Wilson thrown for 1,653 yards, while Justin Fields threw for 1,337 yards. Total touchdowns by Justin Fields, 10. Total touchdowns by Russell Wilson, 11. Turnovers by Justin Fields, 1. Turnovers by Russell Wilson, 5. Passer rating, Fields had a 93.3, which isn't terrible, but not great. And I think a lot of it comes off of this past game. Russell Wilson is at 104.3. Records, 4-2 for Justin Fields, 5-1 for Russell Wilson. I think we could pretty much be at 9-3 if either one of these guys were in all season. I'm going to be honest with you. I think we don't win that Colts game no matter who was in. If you remember, the Colts pretty much came and they did whatever they want with the Steelers. We just weren't ready to play that day. We actually made it look close by getting trash points at the end of the game. The other loss early on in the season was who was the other loss?
Dallas.
Dallas. Dallas. Come on, and nobody takes that win serious. So I don't know. I would argue that we would be pretty much in the same area. Maybe give or take a win and a loss. What do you think, guys?
I think with Russ, we definitely win the Cowboy game. Like you said, that Colts game, yeah. Yeah, the Colts were they were fired up for that game. We came out flat, so yeah. But I do think we win that game. I think we score more points in the Atlanta game. I think we score more in the Denver game as well. Even though Fields played pretty well in the Denver game, I think he had 2 touchdowns in that game. And I think we do a little bit better against the Raiders.
You always taught me, Mike.
What's
the most important thing you taught me?
Win.
What's the
only
best
thing that matters is W.
have?
Availability.
What's the best?
And he had it. And he had it. Yep, and he had the availability early in the season.
He didn't have it for 3 months. He didn't have it for preseason. Yeah. He didn't have it into the season. So again, I think this all kind of evens out with what we have.
Yeah,
guys. Mike, you brought up a pretty good point. One of these idiots said that they would rather keep guys. Let me get your opinion on this. Mike asked me before the show. After this season, do you pay more money to keep Daniel Jones around?
Dan Moore,
who's done a great job on the offensive line. What's that?
You said Daniel Jones, Dan Moore.
Yeah, Dan Moore. I mean, yeah. And would you rather pay the money to keep a solid offensive lineman around, or do you want to spend that money to keep somebody like Cam Hayward, who's aged, and he's putting up a good season this year. But when was the last time you've seen him breaking through, busting up plays like he has been this year? He's playing because he wants to make money. It's obvious to me. I'm watching him play a better season this year than he's played over the past 2 to 3 seasons. Easy. Finch, who do you keep around if you're spending your money? Do you spend it on Dan Moore or do you spend it on Cam Hayward?
I think you spend it on Dan Moore. I think because you're going to spend – I'm hoping that you spend some money on Russell Wilson as well, and you want to be able to protect him, right? So how does this work out? It's hard to say. It depends on how much Cam is looking to get paid as well. Does he do what some of the other legendary Steelers have done in the last 20 years or so, where he takes that pay cut to stay here and just, looks for money elsewhere? I don't know. What do you think?
I would go with I'm getting Dan Moore. I think he's proven to be a not top tier left tackle, but a step down from it. The way he totally erased Henderson from this game was admirable. It was just a hell of a performance. I pay him. I move Fatano into guard, keep Roderick Jones at right tackle. You have Sayomalo again for next year. You have Mason McCormick who can play left and right guard, and then you have Zach Frazier. Now that's a solid offensive line. You pay to get Russell Wilson back. You let Cam Hayward go if he doesn't want to take a discount. We've had no problems letting guys go. We let Joey Porter go, and Joey Porter actually won a fucking Super Bowl, unlike Cam Hayward, who just tends to disappear in the playoffs. And yeah, I move on from Cam. Yeah, he's having a hell of a year. I think a little bit more inconsistent than some people want to admit to. But when he's on, he's on. But you got to move on from him at this point because you at that advanced of an age, you don't know how long will this continue. Let's move on from him. You don't want to get into a position like you are with the Penguins where some of these older veterans aren't playing up to that potential. Move on from him. Get younger through free agency and the draft, build that offensive line, and then go from there. And you got to find a way to keep Najee. It's time we start investing in the offense. We've invested so much money in the defense. Let's invest in the offense. And we want to talk about availability. Dan Moore, I think, has only missed a handful of snaps his entire career. Not games, guys, not seasons, snaps.
Let me bleed back into the quarterback talk. I forgot this point here. Everyone's talking about the big game Russell Wilson had the other day, 414 yards, the most since Ben's latest game. He had 380 was his most recent. The top 5 passing performances by the Steelers since then would be Russell Wilson at 414, Ben with 380, Ben with 341, Ben with 333, and Kenny Pickett coming in number 5 with 327. Beyond that, Ben had a 318. Mason Rudolph had a 315. Justin Fields' high so far is a 312 for the Steelers. That's encouraging, guys, especially because, first off, a lot of people didn't know what to expect. A lot of the people who weren't Steeler fans, the people that were outside of the Pittsburgh fan base, laughed that you guys ain't going to do nothing. You guys are going to do nothing with Russell Wilson. You guys got a couple of quarterbacks. One's past his prime. The other one just never was really able to get up off the ground. It is a pleasant surprise what we have going on here with these quarterbacks. Let me ask you this, though, guys. Say we go to the playoffs. We get our home game in the first round, and we play that first playoff game, and Russell Wilson throws 4 interceptions, and he fumbles the ball and loses the ball on an important drive at the end of the game where we could have kicked the field goal to tie it to stay in this game. Are we feeling great about Russell Wilson going into next season and figuring out his contract? If the first game in the playoffs at home, he throws 4 interceptions and fumbles the ball away with the game on the line. Guys, what's your take on Russell Wilson at that point?
It's real simple. The Yinzers will do what the Yinzers always do, and they'll just blame Tomlin.
Which is fine, but what do you think? What do you think we should do?
We still, as long as Russ stays on the same trajectory as he is now, and he has a great rest of the season, and we get in that first game, and let's say that happens, okay? You still give him a pass on it. I mean, you give him a pass on it. If we could still want to pay that guy and keep him here. We want him to end his career here. He's already proven to be a likable guy. His locker room demeanor has been very helpful to this team, and you want that. So I think the goods there outweigh the bad of having a bad game. Now, if we keep him and he does it again next season, maybe it's a different story. But he's kind of his upside is too good.
Yeah, I agree because it all depends on, like you said, it's a lot of hypotheticals. How, you know, how's the rest of the season going to go? How's that playoff game going to go? Who are we playing? How does the team around him play? Or wide receivers, are these interceptions tip passes? Are they, you know,
No,
coming out of the receiver's hand and stuff like that?
speculate. It's going to be. It's going to Mike. Stop. It's good. Let's speculate that it's just going to be a bad game from top to bottom. Quarterback wise, we come out at the beginning. He throws the ball right into some guy's hand. The guy takes it to the house. It's just a bad game for Russell Wilson. That's what it is. No, let's not speculate who, what, how, when, and why. He just has his worst game as a Steeler by far.
I run it
feeling
back
confident because that's the only playoff game that he's played here. You'd run it back with him?
I'd run it back with him. Yeah, we ran playoff games back with Ben Roethlisberger having bad games. So,
Another point to make real quick. Feel the Steel in the comments says, no, the Steelers need to start looking for Big Ben too. Wouldn't you rather have Russ on your team for maybe 3 more seasons and say draft a quarterback and also have Justin Fields if you can get him cheap? Wouldn't it be nice to be able to do that and get that Big Ben 2 training behind Russ for a year or two, Feel the Steel? So that's my thoughts as well. He brings leadership quality.
Yeah, kind of like
that's my thought process. You're going to want to keep a quarterback around, whether it be Russell Wilson or whether it be Justin Fields. You're going to want to keep one of these guys around if you even do draft your quarterback. But I got to be honest, guys, at what point are we going to be able to draft a quarterback? We never get good picks because we're always, decent, of course.
True.
We haven't had a losing record in 21 seasons, and that goes into that. I mean, at some point, something's going to have to give because we did catch lightning in a bottle with Ben Roethlisberger. It was kind of an accident. I mean, Eli Manning and Phillip Rivers were the big names at that time. Pittsburgh fans are pissed off. We got a Roethlis cheeseburger. What is this guy? And he ended up being lightning in a bottle, and we
a year later, we're eating Roethlisbergers and cheering them on, and
absolutely. So how do you replicate that situation when again it was pretty much a lightning in a bottle situation? We picked behind the Chargers and in the Giants, so Roethlisberger kind of fell to us by default when really we would have probably wanted somebody who was a known. So you see what I'm saying? It's very hard. It's very hard. If you would have told me 10 years ago that the Kansas City Chiefs would be the team of the decade because they picked this kid out of Texas, wherever he came from, Mahomes, I would have said you're nuts. They're always going to be good. They're the Chiefs, but you just got to sometimes get that lightning in a bottle. And for us to get it a couple times, guys, already in this franchise, do you guys think it's going to be difficult to get that guy? And I've always said you kind of need that guy on your team if you're going to be in the talks of a Super Bowl.
You can, in this draft class, you might be able to get that guy. It's all going to depend on what some of these other teams are going to do. Are they going to move on from their quarterbacks? The top ones that are going to go are be Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward. And then after that, you got someone like Carson Beck. You have Jalen Milroe, Quinn Ewers. Those guys right there. You can get one of those guys in the second, third round. The way Jalen Hurts was a second round pick. Dak Prescott. He hasn't had that great playoff success, but he's had great regular season success. He was a third round pick. Russell Wilson was a third round
now
pick.
That would be beyond the first round. That would be a guy that we could potentially grab like this in this upcoming draft.
Maybe Jalen Milroe, if he slips down to the bottom of the first round, beginning of the second, he's someone I would look at. Like, I haven't done deep dive into any of these guys yet, just based off what they've done in college. Milroe would be the guy if he starts falling down the board in the first round. You maybe move up a spot or two, grab him, and sit him on the bench for a year or two behind Russell Wilson, the way the Packers did with Aaron Rodgers and the way they did with Jordan Love. Now, that's what you're going to have to do at this point if you want to find that next guy.
Yeah, I mean, they're the team that understands the system. I haven't seen anybody handle the quarterback situation the way that Green Bay has, certainly in the past 35 years. And you got to, it's almost like our situation with coaching. They know how to do it. They know how to do it right. It ends up being successful. And we got to figure something out because, guys, look at who's in the running. It's Allen in the Bills. It's Mahomes in the Chiefs. It's Hurts in the Eagles. It's teams that have their guy. We don't have our guy. We have a guy. We have a guy that's going to walk into the Hall of Fame one day. But we kind of need a guy. We need our guy, and with a little bit of youth behind him. Can Russell Wilson give us a couple good years? I'm sure he can, and it's looking that way, right? But again, we're going to wake up one day and we're going to have another quarterback situation, as we did the day after Ben left, and we're going to say, "Shit, should we have done something in the meantime before it got to this point where we're here again, scratching our heads, wondering what we're going to do?"
Well, with this year coming up, if we re-sign Russ, we're in a luxury position to where we don't have to reach for a quarterback. We can evaluate these quarterbacks with a clear eyes, a clear mind of saying, "Hey, we don't need to actually get a quarterback. We have our guy for the next year or two. Let's take a look at these guys, do a deep dive in them, do a better evaluation than we did when we drafted Kenny, when we thought he was going to be the guy and it didn't turn out to be. Let's take a look at these guys deeper than we did the last time. And then if one of them we feel can be a first rounder, grab him. If one of them starts to slip in the second round, you trade up, you get that guy. Arch Manning, I think he's coming out next year maybe because he's behind Quinn Ayers this year. I don't think he's coming out. But yeah, I would do that this year. Find a quarterback this year. If not, get him in next year's draft because there's no one in free agency. I think the big names in free agency are going to be Sam Darnold, Russell Wilson, and Justin Fields. Those are going to be your big guys.
All right, guys, we are at the halfway point. We're at halftime. Let's get back into some of these messages. Gentlemen, I don't want to leave anybody out here. Let's get to it. On the board today, we have a lot of people. We have Field of Steel. We have Yinzer Joe. We have Sean. We have P. All kind of goodies on the board today. Welcome, everybody. Great to see everybody here. Let me catch up on what some people were saying here on the show, Mike. Where's a good place to start? Let's start right here. Yinzer Joe said, "What's up, fellas? Hope your holiday was good." They were awesome, brother. It was awesome.
It was
and
great.
yours was good as well. Phil Steele says, "No, Steelers need to start looking for a Big Ben too." We did hit that. P says, "Going to make the playoffs," and Russell still getting what if hate. Interesting. Yinzer Joe said the Bengals have a top. What's that?
Yeah, it's like I think he was talking about how we were talking about Russ. Like if he had that bad game, yeah.
Yinzer Joe said the Bengals have a top 10 offense, but a bottom feeder defense. That's why the game was a shootout. They did absolutely, and hopefully we could benefit.
The Steelers did what they should have done. That's what happened. Steelers did what they needed to do. It's a bottom feeder defense. We didn't play down to that. We played up to it.
Also, Jen says, "I would love to see Russell Wilson blow out the Broncos in the playoffs. Sweet revenge. He. Phil still says Fincher sounds good on that explanation. P says Big Ben was a walking accident.
Yes, he was.
He certainly was there for early on. Cam Ward, Roger says, out of Miami.
Yeah.
I think I do want to say good morning to Roger as well. P says Steelers play too well consistently to draft a can't miss QB. And I was going to say that. What if one of these years, just 1 year, this team throws it and gets their quarterback? Would you be happy with that, or would you want them to be competitive and get their winning record and not get a top quarterback, or would you be okay with them totally having a terrible season, 3 wins to get their guy? Would you be okay going through that, Finch?
It's hard to say. It's hard to say because I'm a Pirates fan and the Pirates do it every single year and it never seems to work out, or they draft the Yankees winning pitcher 10 years early. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's hard to say whether that would ever even work for the Steelers. You can get that number 1 guy and still suck. I mean, look at the Bears, right? So it's hard to say. I don't hate it, but I don't love it.
Yeah, you only do that if there's like a can't miss prospect. If you know you're going to get an Andrew Luck, a Peyton Manning, a Mario Lemieux, a Sidney Crosby.
Say Lemieux, yeah.
Well, I do see Arch Manning on this list here, Mike. In this list of comments, you say if you do see a Peyton Manning, well, guess what? There is an Arch Manning. Is this now? Let's take ourselves from time and bring it to now. Is that does that still play for you? Would you be okay doing this for an Arch Manning?
I got to see what he does. I got to see what he does as a full-time starter next year. I want to see what he can do, and if he can live up to that type. If say he turns out to have like a Eli Manning type career, wins you 2 Super Bowls, but isn't like the key catalyst, but puts up decent regular season numbers and then falls off quickly at the end of his career. I'll take that because you're guaranteed 2 Super Bowls.
That'd be our luck. You'd have Arch, the dad, who didn't win any championships. The kids, they win, 4, we would go get the grandson because he's a Manning, and he would end up having the same kind of success as grandpa and not win any championships. That would be our luck, guys. But let's continue on the board here. Also, Phil Steele says, "Yo, Chief Hunglo, haven't read the board. How you doing, my man?" Also, John St. Arch Manning. Yinzer Joe says it's not the first time the Steelers passed on a quarterback. Could have had Marino, but who did we get? Rivera, a defensive tackle. Also, Phil Steele says, "Yeah, Fincher's right on the QB situation."
A lot of
Phil
Finch is
says,
right today.
I know. I know. Finch.
Well, I think I read the same one about 4 times already. So, also, Jen says Falcons fans want Cousins cut. They're in a battle for first place in their division.
That's fickle.
He says
that's a fickle fan base.
Absolutely, and that's the reason why we don't end up like the Bears. We have a good system, and you get the best guys every year, and you still stink. We don't get the best guys every year, and we're still, again, we haven't had a losing season in over 2 decades. Sometimes it just comes down to the system, the franchise. Also,
isn't it funny when the Steelers are in a rebuilding year? The Steelers are in a rebuilding year. We still are like 9-8. That's a rebuilding year. Whereas the Browns rebuild for 3 seasons in a row, don't win more than 4 games. It's a completely different scale that we're comparing these teams on. So the Bears, maybe they will be set up in the future when they get an actual coach, an actual offensive coordinator together for more than a season.
Smith that took them to the Super Bowl and they fired him.
Yeah, that team wasn't as good as they played. They were overachievers, but I mean, still, you're right. You're right about that.
He takes you to the Super Bowl.
That was ridiculous.
Come on.
And he was a likable guy. Like it was terrible. You're right. Bad franchise, bad calls. And that's why those teams stay bad for a long time. Look at the Bengals.
And you're right. They had one good year. It was 1985, and it was all because of a man from Aliquippa, Pennsylvania. But you know what? It's a whole different story for a whole different day.
And a guy named after an appliance, a kitchen appliance.
That's right.
Don't forget about the fridge.
On the list, P says going to have to tanker trade for an arch. Blah, blah. Let's see. Roger says our expectation every year is a Super Bowl. Absolutely. And I you know what? I imagine that people in New York that are Yankees fans wake up every year and say, you know what? We're going to win this World Series. It's what it is when you
It's a great comparison. Perfect comparison is the Yankees.
Absolutely. Let's see. Mahomes was number 10 in the draft, and so was Bush. Was that the same draft?
No. Reggie Bush was Mahomes was the 10th overall, and then Devin Bush was off the 10th. So you don't know what you're getting in the top 10. Yeah.
Let's see. Yinzer Joe, but the Bears are probably 1 year away from the contention because they got Williams. We'll see about that. P says Trent Dilfer did win a Super Bowl, but I tell you what, I could win a Super Bowl if I played with that defense that Baltimore had back in 2000. I'll just put that out there. Detroit rebuilds for 3 days. Detroit's been rebuilding since the 40s, the 1940s.
They've been rebuilding since Dick LeBeau set the single season record.
The team has gone the way of the auto industry in Detroit. One goes down, and so does the other.
Yep.
Yes. And then finally, Phil still says, "Hey, Fincher and JJ, no, they're unlike somebody else on the board." Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I haven't seen. Is Brian here?
He was here. He was the one who made.
He popped in, made one comment, and left.
Yeah, the Steelers struggled.
Mic drop.
The Steelers struggled. Not as confident. It's a shootout. It's
all good.
A lot of teams,
all good in the hood.
A lot of teams, had to play like that to beat the Bengals. That's what happens.
You know what, the Bengals guys, that offense. Say what you will. Ooh. But that was the best quarterback and receiver tandem that we faced all season. Mm-hmm. Yep. No questions asked. Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase, the best combo we faced all year, guys. Easy. Mm-hmm. I mean, come on. Think of one that's
props.
Better.
They're so good.
I challenge you. And here's the thing about John. John says KC rebuilt and won a ring. Guys, for all you people that are kind of going, oh, you know what, when the Steelers ain't, maybe we're knocked out. Well, let's root for the Chiefs. Let's root for the Chiefs because they have Taylor or whatever reason. It's these stupid reasons people like the Chiefs. Remember this: if they win the Super Bowl this year, guys, they're gonna have 5. You realize that, right? 5, tied with San Francisco and Dallas, and we have 6, which brings them dangerously close. So it just might be time to start rooting against this Chiefs team because as long as Patrick Mahomes is there, guys, you know what I'm saying? So if they win it this year, they will have 5 with Patrick Mahomes for the rest of his career, probably. So keep that in mind. You might want to start hating on them Chiefs a little bit more.
If they stop making good, if once they stop making good commercials for State Farm, that's when I'll start hating them. I used to hate Andy Reid, but now he does those stupid commercials, and I can't help but laugh at him and like the guy.
Fumblerooski.
Isn't it wild?
Fumblerooski.
From Oruski.
Fumblerooski. Sorry.
Isn't it wild that we used to consider Andy Reid as the coach that couldn't win the big game?
Yeah.
And then suddenly he's winning the big game. What if it's Tomlin's turn? Everybody gives Tomlin credit. No credit. They never give him credit for winning a Super Bowl because it was Bill Cowher's team, despite having almost half of the roster different. Maybe it's Mike Tomlin's turn to be Andy Reid and start winning those big games and get one or two more under his belt.
Yeah.
And then this whole rooting against Kansas City shit doesn't mean anything because we'll have 7, 8, 9 Super Bowls in the next decade.
Yeah, I think it was
I hope you're
on one of the ESPN shows. They were talking about the Steelers, and it was Bill Cowher. It was Bill Cowher on CBS said the Steelers have two things the rest of the AFC does not outside of Kansas City. You have a quarterback who won it all, and you have a head coach who won it all.
Yeah.
They've been there, done that. Won one, lost one. They know what it takes to get there to win. They know what not to do to get there. Now you get that back. You hope they can both rekindle their magic that they both once had, and it will coalesce into a championship run. Now, if we don't win the Super Bowl, I'll be okay with that as long as we play well down the stretch, have a valiant showing in the playoffs. But yeah, that's an advantage that Russ has over everyone else not named Patrick Mahomes. That's an advantage Tomlin has over everyone not named Andy Reid.
ESPN FPI gives the Steelers nearly a 10% chance. 10% chance of making the Super Bowl. That is what ESPN thinks of the Steelers at right now as we speak. They're giving us roughly a 10% chance, which you know what, we'll take it. Like what did he say on Dumb and Dumber? Was it Dumb and Dumber? So you're saying there's
a
chance? Oh, I gotta find
That's the way I feel with that. 10% is a pretty good
that's not bad. Yeah. Also, you're in the ball game.
Speaking of Mike, the Chiefs, we're talking a little bit about Patty Mahomes here with his childbearing hips. Now, he also Mike points down the field with his gun finger when he pointed first down. Pickens does the gun finger in the end zone. He gets an unsportsmanlike conduct. He gets the threat. He gets the warning. He gets the penalty. It's no question that Patty Mahomes gets favored. But at what point, Mike, listen, do you think the reason that Pickens, because Mike and I was talking yesterday, guys, he just doesn't get the call, does he?
No.
If you see Pickens going down the sideline for a contested catch, goes up, when was the last time you could recall seeing a flag coming out in his favor? I got to tell you, it's been quite a few weeks for me. Now that takes me to the question, Mike, with the gun finger. Is it just because one guy is kind of a menace and the other guy is the face of the league? Is it kind of like school when, there's that, well, you know what, the kids that do good and the kids that play sports, we're going to treat these kids good. And these ones that are out smoking cigarettes, we're going to be a total dick to these kids. And is that what it is? Is that why no favor at all goes to George Pickens, guys? Again, first down, gun finger, unsportsmanlike. Patrick Mahomes, first down, gun finger, nothing. Any given play, there could be a penalty in the way of Mahomes. George Pickens could be getting mauled on the sideline and can't get a pass interference to save his life. Is it because of the guy why this is happening?
It's because of the guy. Because Josh Allen did the same thing against or last week too. He did the point. Now people want to say it's because George had two fingers out.
I'm looking at a picture where I see Patrick Mahomes.
Well, this looks like a gun too, but it's because George went like this. He brought some recoil back. I think it's stupid. You're getting to a fine line at that point. It's not like he's sitting there. You've seen guys, mime the machine gun and stuff like that. People go like this for the first down. George just went like this and brought it back. I see where the refs are coming from it, but also at the same time, I can see where George is coming from
This is what Mahomes is doing. This to me looks more like a gun motion. I'm looking at the picture right now. Pull it up.
Yeah.
He's looking. This looks like a gun more to me than somebody going like this. This is first down. This is kind of different, right?
Yeah.
I'm looking at Patrick Mahomes doing the two-hand. I'm looking at George Pickens do the one. What's the difference? Is it one guy's a menace and the other guy's a face? Is that what it is? Can we admit that's what it is, or is it something else? Because I don't get it if it's something else.
That's what it is. It's because George Pickens, he does have a target on the back. You see this in all sports. Guys get a reputation, and you're not going to get any any consideration. Like it's like in basketball, Draymond Green, he's such a menace. He's never going to get the benefit of the doubt on any calls, and George now isn't either. I have a problem with that penalty they called on him. I don't have a problem with the one where he dropped the ball on the guy. You don't do that. I thought it was funny. I would do the same thing in George's situation, but the league, they're going to call that every time.
Yeah.
Roger brings up a good point.
What did he say?
There we go. Yeah, Roger said, I'm a Steeler fan, but historically the Steelers don't get the calls. Ben used to get murdered and they never called roughing. Yeah, like same thing, like him and Cam Newton never got the calls because, you're big guys. You can take that hit. Certain players get that.
You're a big boy. You'll be all right.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it was for Ben and for someone like Cam Newton as well. That's what's going on right now with George Pickens and probably some other receivers like Amon-Ra St. Brown, two guys that are considered hotheads. You're not going to get those calls where someone has Mahomes, the face of the league, his counterpart up in Buffalo, Josh Allen, also a face of the league. They're going to get away with being able to do the finger point looking like a gun, whereas George Pickens, Amon-Ra St. Brown will not get away with it.
Mike, we were talking briefly about Deontay Johnson. Well, we're talking about the Steeler offense a little bit here.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Williams now, guys, talking about, are we ever going to get a call with George Pickens? Are we ever going to get another catch with Mike Williams, guys? After reeling in the 32-yard touchdown catch that won the Steelers the game in his debut, Williams has not been targeted since. He has also seen his snaps go down in each of the last 3 games from 25 in week 11 to 19, in week 12 to 17, in week 13. We're right around the corner from the playoffs. At some point, should this guy be getting involved? Why is he not involved? And is that going to change, guys, moving forward?
Let me tell a quick story here, okay? One of the greatest sports films of all time, Mighty Ducks 2. There was the goalie, the young lady from Bangor, Maine. Her name was the Cat, and she had 2 chances in the movie to make her chance to be the goalie. And they counted on her once, and she let them down. And they didn't bring her in again until the very end. They needed her to make that one save, make that one move that they knew she could make at the time when it mattered the most. That's going to be Mike Williams. They are going to call on him, and he's going to make the play when it matters, and that's what matters. I haven't heard any complaints from him. Hopefully he comes in when they call his name, and he needs to make that catch to win the game or get ahead or whatever it is. He's going to be there for him. That's why we drafted him. Nobody's going to remember this conversation in 6 weeks from now. He's going to be there.
The thing also about him, I hope you're right, Finch. I hope you're right. The thing is, people are saying, well, maybe he doesn't know the plays. He came in his debut. He went deep. He caught a ball. He won a game by catching a football because that's what he's really good at. Here we are a month later, and people are starting to speculate that he's not able to learn his plays. Worst case scenario, put him in and just let him run a pattern. You're not. If you're going to sit around and wait for everything to be perfect, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. The guy knows how to play football. He's a veteran. Again, you put him in one play. You throw to him one time, and he catches a game-winning touchdown. I think that there's something deeper here, guys. Something's got to be going on with him.
See, I'm not buying he doesn't know the playbook. He's getting more and more snaps as the week goes on. You see him out there in different formations. I think Russ right now is just not looking for him. Or when by the time he's making his reads, I think Mike Williams might be down on the list of reads when he's out there in the play. You see him going to Georgia a lot. You see him going to Freiermuth more. You see him starting to hit the backs more. It might just be the way that he's going through his progressions. Like, okay, George is there. I'm going to go to my number 2, and then I'm not going to make it to my number 3, which might be Mike Williams, depending on that route. Or I'm going to George and I'm looking for my check down. It could be something as simple as that. As George isn't there, all right, I'm going to find Muth. I'm going to find Najee. I'm going to find Mount Washington or Jalen Warren, or in those touchdown passes to Calvin Austin, those were, that was his main read. He got him beat. He went to him. Mike Williams was out there in a little dig route that drew attention from someone else that could have been double teaming Calvin Austin. So they're using him in different ways. And I think Russ is just, by the time he gets to his progressions, he might be really low on his read, or that third read that Russ is going, 1's not there, 2's not there. I'm getting the ball out of my hand. And hopefully
All right,
now,
we do
we saw the line give him more time. We saw Russ hit more people. You get, as he's getting more and more snaps for Mike Williams, hopefully those reads will come as that line, becomes a better pass blocking unit.
All right, as we do have to move forward here, guys, it is getting late in the show. We still have a lot of things to go over. Right now, here's one really cool thing about the Ravens, and we're going to drop the Ravens like a bad habit, guys. The Ravens, in their 5 losses this season, got outscored by a combined 22 points, okay? 22 points is what the Ravens lost by total in their losses this year. Justin Tucker has 22 points worth of missed kicks in those Ravens 5 losses. In the Ravens 5 losses, 22 points worth of missed kicks in their losses are by combined 22 points. So that's interesting. Funny, all at the same time. Also around the league, Damar Hamlin from right here at Pitt plays up at Buffalo. Everybody remembers Damar Hamlin. He is the leading vote getter in the AFC for free safety. Nobody has more votes, and at this point, he will be starting in the AFC for the AFC team in the All-Star game, if you will. Damar Hamlin, good for him. Keep up the good work. He had another pick the other night I seen, but it got taken back for some reason or another. But Damar's looking really good up in Buffalo. Hope he keeps up the good work. Also, gentlemen, just one more thing. The season, next year's schedule is going to look like this. If you're wondering right now, if the season ended the way it is today, we get all the first place teams. We get the AFC East, which means we get Buffalo next year. We get the Jets next year. We get the Dolphins next year. We get the Patriots. No matter what, we get the first place team from the West, which right now would be the Texans. We get the first place team that was from the South. We get the first place team from the West, which is Kansas City. So, guys, and our schedule, and get this, the NFC North. That's right. We get the Packers. We get the Vikings. We get the Lions. We get those Bears. And right now it looks like we would get the Seattle Seahawks. So next year's schedule isn't going to be much easier, guys. Let's not say let's wait till next year. Let's try to do this next year. Let's try to win now, because as the season looked very difficult at the beginning of the year, look where we got to this point, and we are doing pretty good. Let's make this run, guys. We have 5 games left, starting with the Browns this weekend at home in a revenge game from the Snow Globe just a couple weeks ago on Thursday night. Couple things here, guys, and we have to get into these picks results for the week. The Pittsburgh Penguins are back in action tonight. They're hosting the Florida Panthers. That game's at 7 o'clock. The Penguins come in with a 10-12-4 record, while the Florida Panthers come to town with a 15-9-1. Also, the Pitt basketball team, guys, they're starting out 18 in the AP pool or 19 in the coaches pool. They are back at it tomorrow against Mississippi State. That's at 9:15. Mike, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody about the website, and we'll get into this trivia for the day.
The2dumyinjures.com. Check it out, everyone, especially if you're new here. We see a lot of new people in the analytics on the YouTube channel. So check out the2dumyinjures.com. We have all of our links to all of our social media. The Discord's in there. We got the merch store. We got the blog. A new one came up yesterday. So check it out at the2dumyinjures.com. Over to you, Derpy.
If you're new to the Two Dumb Yinzers show, be sure to subscribe below and boom! Pound that like button.
Oh, I felt that.
People were asking for the Derpy boom. They've been asking for the Derpy boom.
We got to get that Derpy boom in the sound machine.
Yeah, I got to work on
guys,
that. Yeah.
The winner of the picks for this week, if it's any surprise to anybody, Derpy does it again, guys. He takes 12 games. Finch and Mike, they both ended out. I think Finch ended out getting 11 because he took the Steelers, and Mike had 1 less because he took Cincinnati. But Derpy, you do have a 9-4 lead on the picks on the season, well ahead. We're lucky this goes all the way through the playoffs, Mike, because he would only be 1 week away from wrapping it up if it finished at the end of the regular season. But Derpy, you, my friend, you were up 9-4, and you did win this week's picks.
It's because he's on the moon. That's where we keep him. We have to keep him away there. He was chronically masturbating too much, so we had to ship him off planet.
All right, guys, are you ready?
I am ready.
Derpy's aunt. Oh, she's a real
Spitfire.
Hellcat. She's a Spitfire.
Ooh.
She's a Hellcat. Real life.
Meow.
All right, guys, let's hop
Here,
into
kitty,
this trivia for the day. Then we'll get back. We'll start answering some questions. Guys, here is your Cleveland Browns trivia question of the day. Mike, Derpy, Finch, put on your thinking caps, guys, on the board. Play along as well. Here we go. This is a Cleveland Browns trivia question because this is who the Steelers play this week, and that will we be doing. Here we go, guys. What college team did the Browns adopt their team colors from? What college team did the Browns adopt their team colors from? If you guys would like a hint, I'll give you a hint. And just to get over, we're live 5 days right here, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every day right here on YouTube. Guys, the question of the day is, what college football team did the Browns adopt their team colors from? Would you guys like a hint, or do you feel that you have a hold on this?
I need a hint.
Anybody else want to take a stab first before I give the hint, or do you guys want the hint as well?
I would think it has to be a college local to the Cleveland area, right? I just can't think of any schools up there. I can't imagine there's enough smart people up there to warrant colleges.
Ooh.
Well,
You got to think it was back in the 1940s, right? So
Man, shots fired.
I got. If you need these answers, you have to tell me you want the hint. I could give you something that will certainly answer a lot of what you just asked.
yeah,
Does
give me
anybody
the
want the hint?
I want
Do
the
you want the hint as well?
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go. The question is, what college football team did the Browns adopt their team colors from? This is a hint. Ready? The Browns held their training camp at this college from 1946 to 1951. So yes, Finch, yes. One more time. What was the college football team that the Browns adopted their colors from? The hint is the Browns held their training camp at this college from 1946 to 1951. All right, guys. We get Syracuse on the board. Let's see. Mud Dogs. Mike, Finch, Derpy. You know what? Let me start with Finch.
the
'Cause, Mike,
only
you look like you might have an idea.
The
Yeah.
only school I could think of that's close to Cleveland that's a big college is like Kent State University, and I know that isn't right. Brian says it's not a school from Ohio. I honestly have no idea, so I'm just going to go with Syracuse because that's the only orange place I can think of.
All right, so Finch is going Syracuse. Derpy, I'm going to come to you next. What college football team did the Browns adopt their team colors from back in the 1940s?
I'm gonna go with Syracuse.
Syracuse as well? All right. Is that your final answer?
Yes.
All right. I got two Syracuses, Mike. I got Syracuse on the board. Last will come to you. What college football team did the Browns adopt their colors from? Mike.
I'm gonna follow along with everyone else. I'm taking Syracuse because that's where Jim Brown went there.
I gotta say, I'm gonna be awfully disappointed in Mike and Derpy, and you'll see why. All right, guys. The question of the day is this: what college football team did the Browns adopt their team colors from? The hint was the Browns held training camp at this college from 1946 to 1951, from the college that they got their colors from. Everybody said Syracuse. Syracuse the whole way down the board. The correct answer, guys, is of course Bowling Green State.
Oh,
That was the other one I was thinking of.
I forgot about
Derpy and
Bowling
Mike,
Green.
I really
Totally
thought you
forgot
guys
about
were going to
that
get
school.
that. But Bowling Green State is where the Cleveland Browns initially got their colors that we know and love today. So there you go.
Lovely, great trivia, great trivia.
I totally forgot
Mike,
about
anything before we
Bowling
start getting
Green.
ready to wrapping up, man?
Yeah, real quick. Mike Tomlin says he fully expects Alex Highsmith to play against the Browns. Calvin Austin is in concussion protocol. Hopefully that little a little tough little Oh my God, he's a tough son of a bitch. Hopefully he can come back. And it looks like Montravius Adams and Corey Trice have a chance to play against the Browns.
Also, we did learn that Cam Sutton did take over officially Beanie Bishop's spot in that secondary as the starter. So I'll take the veteran over the rookie any day. But Beanie's a good guy to have around. Hopefully he can continue to grow and be productive for the Steelers squad.
Yeah.
Guys, let's knock out some of these. Let's knock out some comments here before we do take off for the day.
I like that one. Why am I not surprised they got their college or their colors from a college team?
Very good, very good. Let's see. Who's the white guy that we got, the receiver?
Skowronek.
Skowronek. You think we'll be okay with Skowronek if Calvin Austin can't play?
Ooh. No, because we don't have a deep threat.
Exactly.
We need Calvin Austin for the deep threat. That's gonna like who's gonna return punts, who's gonna return. Yeah, who's gonna be the punt returner.
All right, I'm gonna start right here with John Johnson. The NFL reminds me that life isn't fair. Ryan isn't getting any president pardons. That's true. Also, Yinzer Joe says, I think that these penalties against George Pickens and Joey Porter Jr. because they're physical and the refs are showing favoritism to the opponent. Field of Steel says, I love what number 15 is doing, though.
Skowronek.
Roger says, what's not to know? Our OC is in his first year. Plus, it's not like we scored 40 points every game. John says 10 receivers with over 10 yards. Smith and Hayward are the only two eligible to not to get a catch. Let's see. Let's go down. What's that?
Williams and Hayward.
Yeah. And then also, Phil Steele said, boom! Got that. Why does Derpy sound like Neil Armstrong? I don't know, Derpy. Talk. I didn't know you sounded like Neil Armstrong. I got to hear this.
So.
Yeah, I guess you do. Jen says, great job, Derpy. Field of Steel says, Derpy, you haven't told us if Auntie's okay. We're not going to talk about Auntie anymore, Phil. Also, guys, I had some guesses in on the Syracuse for the Syracuse on the colors. Roger, of course, says, why am I not surprised that they got their colors from a college team? Field of Steel says, I don't know, but I do know go blue. Field of Steel. Oh, that was Steelers for life. Sorry about that. Field of Steel says,
for life.
Cheers. True black and gold fans are always confident on Watt and the Men of Steel. Scotty Miller says Roger, and then Field of Steel says go blue, stomp on the O. I guess that's a reference for Derpy with the Michigan and the Ohio State. I do want to throw this out there for anybody who doesn't think that Watt had a good day. 2 sacks, 5 quarterback hits, 3 tackles for loss, 1 forced fumble. Sounds like a pretty good day to me, right?
Yeah, that seems like a pretty good day.
Yeah, I guess you can't do it every single play. You know what are you gonna? I mean, it's not Madden. It's not a video game. But at the end of the day, T.J. Watt, I certainly think, is up there. John says that Derpy has a kennel cough. He has a kennel cough. And Finch, anything before you're ready to wrap it up, man?
Ryan, I would like you to know that I drank exactly 4 sips out of my cup during the show. I kept a tally, and that got through about that much coffee is what was in there. So 4 for me. I didn't see Mike put a single thing in his mouth. I heard a lot of bullshit come out of it, but I didn't see him put anything into it.
Derpy, boom him. Boom him, Derpy.
Boom.
There you go.
And boom goes the dynamite.
What the hell did I do to you guys today?
Mike, what about you? Anything before we go?
I got nothing.
I think Finch was referring to all the brain rot that we got for every time you opened your mouth, but all right, I just had to get brain rot in there. Sorry, I don't think it's brain rot every time you open your mouth. You got nothing, Mike?
I you know what? No, I got nothing. I got boom.
Derpy, what do you got, man?
I got something from your famous Pirates.
Yeah.
Chapman signed with Boston.
Who?
And you lost your Aroldis Chapman.
Oh.
He signed with Boston.
Peace.
And you lost your pro scout.
Who?
No.
To the Giants.
We lost. our pro scout.
Listen, didn't the Cleveland Indians like the only team that
The Guardians.
was a longer time? No, I'm talking about the Indians that won way back before the Pirates did.
Way back.
Aren't they the longest? I think they're the longest tenured team, even further back than the Pirates, to win a World Series. That would be the Cleveland Indians, guys, the only team, and then the other teams behind them are the teams that never even made it to the World Series. So,
Yeah, I think it was like the 1940s, 45, something like that. The last time they went and won.
But anyway, that's baseball.
Not any
Who
better.
cares, right? Yeah.
162.
I do want to say thank you to everybody for coming and hanging out and checking us out today. We appreciate each and every one of you. We truly, honestly do. We wouldn't do it without you. Thank you so much. We want to say thank you to everybody on the board. You guys always keep things interesting here on the show, and everybody at home as well. Thank you so much. Gentlemen, ain't much going on. We have a Penguin game tonight. If you want to check out the Florida Panthers coming to Pittsburgh to play the Pens, that game starts at 7:00 tonight. Other than that, we'll be back tomorrow first thing to continue to prepare for this Cleveland Browns game. I think, guys, you win this game, we're sitting in a pretty good spot. Again, you're going to be roughly 2.5 games above the Ravens with the tiebreakers and things like this. So you win this game, that puts you in a great position with only 4 games left overall after this. Certainly works in our favor, guys.
So
But
you're
other
telling
than that,
me there's
gentlemen,
a chance.
That's right, baby. Other than that, what does that sound like? Is that like a street sweeper? I'm hearing this. It sounds like we're in a vacuum. Have you been hearing this throughout the show?
It's coming through someone's mic.
Oh, there it was. Who was that?
Must be
Was that
me.
you?
Must be
Okay.
me. I think it's me because I muted my mic and you said it went off.
Yeah. Okay. I just don't know what it is. But that is the new mic, right?
Yeah, it's a brand new microphone and I'm working out the kinks, so we'll get it figured
All
out.
right. We get it. No problem. But I do want to say
Oh,
thank you
good.
to everybody today on the show as well. Guys, we will be back tomorrow first thing to do it all over again. We hope that you join us then. For Finch, for Derpy, for Mike in the Steeler Central Mobile Studio, myself, the Two Dumb Yinzers. Everybody have a great Tuesday, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.